got interrupted by my kiddos. So, continuation of the video from a place of rest. So that has been one of my focuses of this year, all 19 days of it, is pressing and striving to enter his rest. Not striving in a way of like, if I do this and do this good enough, then I'll enter his rest, but striving as in pressing into his presence, really focusing on prayer time and worship and seeking his face, not to get a word, like, oh, I got to get a word to share, or I got to get my prayers answered or whatever, but to know him, to see him. I was listening to a Jonathan Cahn video today, and he was talking about the home front and how people like Moses and David, we see their doings, and they were mighty men of God, and they did these amazing things by God's power, but they did that because they spent time with him. Moses wanted to be in God's presence. He saw God face to face. David was a man after God's own heart. He wrote the majority of the Psalms. It's just amazing. So from a place of rest, working from a place of rest, and not trying to work ourselves into resting, but knowing that when we are in him, we are at rest, we are at peace, and going from there. The third thing was insights from C.S. Lewis, and I will expound on all of these things at a later date. This one in particular, I will share something that has happened to me this past last year, and then a little bit this year. No, it was all last year. Nothing yet this year, I don't think. No, I'll have to look at the dates. Not that that really matters, but I was reading, I've been reading the Chronicles of Narnia to my kids. Right before nap time, we'll read a chapter or two. And Aslan always says, when somebody asks about, well, what happened with that person? Or what happened here? What would have happened? And he says, we're only told our own stories. And that's, similar when Peter asked Jesus about John, the beloved, well, what about this man? And Jesus was like, if I have him remain till I come, what's it to you? You're only told your own story. And in what I'll get into in another video soon, that happened to me was an accusation of basically telling another's story. And how, I didn't do it, obviously, but how often do we, as Christians, gossip? We tell other people's stories. And I know I have been guilty of that in the past, especially like if it's a good story. I want to tell it. I wanted this. I'm the youngest of 5. I loved having a story to tell because then I would have the attention. I wanted that attention. And it's so funny how as I've gotten older, I'm less and less wanting to be in the limelight. Like, I'm really stepping out in obedience doing these videos because I'd rather not. But anyway, so we're only told our own story. And if we would be people who would only tell our own story, how much more trustworthy would we be? How much more could God trust us to know other people's stories, not so that we can tell them, but so that we can help them? So yes, more to come, and sorry for being away for so long. I will do better because I can do hard things.